If I put this candle in an all-white gallery space, it looks like a piece of art. If I put it in a garage, it looks like a piece of trash.
So, if you clicked on this video, I'm sure you know who that guy is. And if you're unfamiliar, this is Virgil Abloh. He's considered the most revered creative director of Louis Vuitton menswear, the founder of Off-White, and widely regarded as the father of luxury streetwear. But more importantly, he's the primary source of inspiration for anyone who's ever dreamed of owning a clothing brand. Well, at least I know he was for me. I've studied every single piece of information that he left on the internet for us before he passed, and he was one of the main reasons that I was able to go from selling t-shirts out of my bedroom to doing consistent six-figure months with my clothing brand. See, he made me realize you don't need a fashion degree, you don't need to be extremely gifted with design, you don't need to be rich, you just need Virgil's 3 principles of developing a brand that people obsess over. And in the next 10 minutes, I'm going to talk about the exact 3 principles that I took from Virgil's playbook and applied to my own brand to bring my brand from a bedroom operation to a 6-7 figure business. Now, before I discovered Virgil's philosophy, I was making the same mistake that every single other brand owner makes, and that's trying to be completely original. See, just like everybody else, I thought I needed to invent something that's never been seen before. Revolutionary designs, groundbreaking concepts, something that's gonna blow people's minds. But see, there's one problem with that. That's impossible. And the way that I found this out was by creating and then realizing every single time I thought I'd had this revolutionary idea, I found out that it had already been done before. Somebody before me had done it almost the exact same. Or even worse, I'd spend weeks trying to perfect this one design to make it look unique, and then find out that it looked like every other attempt at being unique that other clothing brands had made. So I got stuck in this cycle of just overthinking and overthinking and overthinking and succumbing to the pressure of trying to create something new because I thought that's what I had to do to pop off in this whole streetwear industry. And that is where I found Virgil's Harvard lecture, where he said something that pretty much flipped my entire mindset. And I hope perspective.
What most people won't tell you is that the people that you look up to didn't invent it themselves. You know, everyone has this sort of like getting your brain reprogrammed.
See, this explains that innovating isn't creating from nothing, all right? It's about taking a concept that already exists and then editing it to be presented in a fresh way that is both marketable and consumable by an audience. And this hit me like a truck, all right? Because I realized that I'd been playing this whole design game completely backwards. And this overarching philosophy is pretty much the core of the 3 principles that we'll be discussing today. The first being the 3% rule.
Then I have my sort of like 3% approach. Right now, I'm only interested in editing something 3% from its original form. I'm basically tired. I might be too old, but I found that things are intriguing to me when they're like slightly edited, like these shoes.
So in that clip, Virgil kind of just shows the Air Force One that he designed for Nike, and at first glance, it just looks like a regular Air Force One, right? Same silhouette, same basic structure, same laces, same soles, but Virgil made these really, really tiny strategic changes that really transformed the shoe and brought it an entirely new energy. He moved the swoosh slightly lower, he did the quotes around the word air on the side, he included the orange tab, he did the text on the medial side, and these changes represent less than 5% of the shoe's total design. But suddenly, it felt completely fresh and made it a shoe that everybody wanted all at one time. And it's still like one of the most sought after sneakers ever made. See, and that's the genius of the 3% rule, all right? You're not reinventing the wheel, you're turning it just slightly to create something that feels new but also feels familiar. So I applied this strategy to my designs with Tamed Psychotic, and instead of trying to design these new silhouettes completely from scratch, I just started with proven foundations. And when we did our Apache NFL jerseys, that was the first big hit that came from the utilizing of this principle. See, we took the classic NFL jersey look and fit, you know, where the patch at the bottom was, where the logo in the middle is, where the numbers on the sleeves and the back are, and then we made our edits, right? We made it our own. So we're introducing these little edits, right, to make it our own while also keeping the look and familiar feel of an NFL jersey, which is a concept that everybody already loves, wears, and consumes. See, people weren't buying an NFL jersey, they were buying a jersey that felt elevated, right, and distinct more so to what they wanted to buy and what they wanted to consume, who they are, right? And this 3% rule pretty much solved my entire problem with design. See, what this did was it helped us to create something that stood out without alienating customers who want to purchase wearable items that they can actually wear rather than something completely unique and new that's really, really difficult to wear. And you know what? It turns out that majority of streetwear consumers don't want revolutionary fashion. All right, they want familiar concepts that they've seen before, worn before, felt comfortable in before, edited to feel fresh and to feel new and to feel unique and distinct to their taste. They want familiar things just done better, essentially. But before I even began sketching, designs, call sheets, tech pack, we needed one thing, all right, and that was our foundation. We needed a solid foundation. And that brings us to principle number 2, and that is finding your DNA.
So what I would challenge you in your work, no matter what, is go back. Go back to when you were like, that your earliest memories, or the way that you thought to organize something, the way you thought to organize your closet, or what colors were your favorite. Back in that sort of like early rationale before you sort of learned too much. That's when your DNA started.
Now, before I heard this, I was trying to be pretty much what I thought every successful brand owner should be. I was just copying what every other successful brand did. But what I was actually doing is just creating a watered down version of something that already existed. And even worse, something that meant nothing to me, because I was only trying to create it to be unique. And when I heard Virgil talk about DNA, I sat and I stopped and I thought back to what initially inspired me before I knew anything about fashion or the streetwear industry or any of that. See, growing up and becoming a man, I was really obsessed with all the things that made me feel masculine, made me feel powerful, made me feel like a fucking man. The motorcycles, I was always obsessed with dirt bikes, street bikes, cruiser bikes, Harleys, all that stuff as a kid. I was always dying to do reckless activities, shooting guns, riding go-karts, and pretty much just any reckless activity you can think of. And growing up, I was very sheltered. So as I grew into a man, I was very independent minded. I wanted to do my thing, my way, go down my path, no matter what anybody told me. And I wanted to get better, but I knew it was never going to be perfect. I knew it was going to look pretty, my journey to success, my journey to the superior version of myself. And that's where Tamed Psychotic's DNA is found. Masculine, independent, anti-authoritarian culture meets streetwear. But it's authentic, right? It's not cosplay, costumey, not fake. It's real. And moving on past the development of our identity, everything that we create, every marketing creative, every product, it needs to pass the DNA test. Would this piece fit into the world of somebody like this? Like Tamed Psychotic, like our DNA, like our brand identity, like our target customer, like our ICP. And if it feels like fashion trying to cosplay as like motorcycle culture or costumey, then we scrap it because it's not real. It's not authentic. It's like trying too hard, essentially. And if you really look into our brand at Tamed Psychotic, you'll see this DNA in pretty much everything we post. Through our R&D posts, our marketing creatives, our flat lays, our graphics, our photo shoots, literally everything. And this includes our color palettes, all right, earthy tones, gritty tones, colors that kind of work with concrete and within a garage kind of a feeling. Our outfits are functional, right? You can move around in them, you can get dirty in them, you can get gritty, you can work, you can play, you can go out in them, and they all fit well. Aside from that, we use a lot of heavyweight materials, very durable materials that you can go out and do dumb shit in, and more than likely it's not going to tear, it's not going to rip, it's intact. It's almost for like tactical use. And then going back to our marketing, everything in our marketing reflects the Tamed Psychotic DNA, and every single piece of content that we create is created through the lens of someone who lives in a Tamed Psychotic DNA world. And the crazy thing is once I actually committed to this DNA, right, I was consistent with this DNA for a long period of time, our customer return rate went up and up and up and up. It went from like 30% to like 65-70%. And that's because people aren't just buying the clothes, they're buying into an authentic story that represents something within themselves. It resonates with them. Even if they've never touched a motorcycle, they don't know how to shoot a gun, it still resonates with the energy that's inside of them. Our DNA matches their DNA, and that's the power of an authentic DNA. All right, it attracts the people who match and repels the people who don't. All right, it doesn't try to sell to everybody, it tries to sell to one person, which makes that person see it as special. And that's exactly what you want when you're building a brand. Now, for the third principle, número 3. It is using dead and alive mentors. All right, I'll let Virgil explain again.
You also have to have mentors, like dead or alive. You have to sort of connect with some body of work or someone who formulated a thought and an aesthetic, and then build yours upon that.
Now, instead of trying to create from nothing, you study the masters, and then you build on their foundation. And for Tamed Psychotic, I identified 3 main mentorship concepts, right? 3 main references that I felt resonated with the Tamed Psychotic energy, the Tamed Psychotic DNA. The first was Chrome Hearts, right? We all love Chrome Hearts, but what I loved was their approach to mixing luxury with rebellious culture. See, these guys proved that you could create premium products that reference the motorcycle rock and roll world without being cheesy. It's awesome. It's beautiful. And we've really adopted that concept into the development of our designs, our clothing, our marketing for our brand. Number 2, the second would be early Supreme, right? And not the hype Supreme that you see today. I'm talking the original skateboard shack that understood the importance of community and authenticity before this became a whole reselling battle. And number 3, we've got good old rock and roll tour merch from like the 80s, 90s, early 2000s. They really understood how to create a really good graphic that kind of encapsulates this like feeling of an experience, right? This like representation of an experience, the concert experience, the tour experience, that feeling, that kind of graphic structure we've adapted into our creation, our design, our creative direction, and it's been a game changer. Now, don't get it twisted, all right? I didn't copy their designs, all right? I adopted their psychological principles and then inserted them, injected them into the creative direction for Tamed Psychotic. From Chrome Hearts, I learned how to use premium materials, construction methods to create a very durable, heavyweight garment that lasts a long time, can be distressed, can be washed, can be worn really in any setting. And all these things justify higher price points. And whenever people unbox their order, right, and they feel the heavyweight cotton, they feel it. Right? They feel it and it justifies the higher price point in their mind and obviously lasts a much longer time, which means they get to enjoy it for a long time. They get to wear it for a long time. They get to show it to other people for a long time. It's just a win-win. Now, from Supreme, I learned the power of building genuine community. We focus on serving a very specific, I feel, underserved community with our garments, with our designs. We attach stories to each and every product. We create products for the customer, for our community, rather than focusing on what's easy to make and easy to sell. I actually made a video on this. It's on YouTube, and I highly suggest you watch it after this one. It's a banger. But regardless, this approach gave me kind of a shortcut to professional, high-level creative direction, and that's taken my brand to the next level. Because instead of taking years to trial and error and learn all these mistakes, I could learn from people who have already lived them, already developed an idea or a concept that works. They've already solved the problems that I was facing. And because of this, our products just felt immediately more professional, more real, more authentic, more aligned with what they wanted to see, what they wanted to wear. And our customers could really sense the difference, even if they couldn't really explain or articulate why. Alrighty, and with that, those are the 3 principles from Virgil Abloh that helped me to build my clothing brand. I really had a lot of fun with this video doing the researching and development, and I hope that my delivery reflects that. If you're a new brand owner or you've tried many times and failed with your clothing brand, please take these 3 concepts, sew them into your work, and I promise it will change the way that you view brand building. And if you want to dive deeper into building your clothing brand, I built a 47-minute masterclass on YouTube. It's up here if you guys want to learn more. It covers literally everything you need to build a 7-figure brand. So check that out, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
Life is so short that you can't waste even a day subscribing to what someone thinks you can do versus knowing what you can do.